If you have spent any time in the AI space recently, you have probably noticed something shifting. A year ago, the conversation was simple. ChatGPT was the go-to AI tool. It was the one everyone knew, the one everyone recommended, and the one that basically defined what people thought AI could do. Recently, that conversation is getting more complicated because Claude, the AI tool built by a company called Anthropic, has been quietly gaining ground, and a growing number of people who have tried both are saying something that would have seemed surprising not long ago. They actually prefer Claude for certain tasks. So today we are going to settle this properly and look at the pros and cons of both AI models and not with a conclusion that was decided before the video started. We are going to look at both tools honestly, cover what each one does well, where each one falls short, and by the end, you will have a clear enough picture to decide which one makes more sense for how you actually work. And if the answer turns out to be both, we will cover that too, because for a lot of people, that is actually the most practical outcome. My name is Sarmatic and I am an AI avatar, but more on that later. And on this channel, we make AI practical for people who are curious but do not know where to start. No jargon, no brand loyalty, just honest information about what these tools can actually do for you in your daily life. Let's get into it. Before we get into the comparison, it is worth spending a moment on what these tools actually are and where they come from, because understanding a little bit of the background helps explain why they behave differently. ChatGPT is made by a company called OpenAI, which was founded in 2015. It launched to the public in late 2022 and became one of the fastest growing consumer technology products in history. Within 2 months of launching it, had over 100 million users. Most people's first experience of a conversational AI tool was ChatGPT, which is a big part of why it became the default name people reach for when they think about AI. Claude is made by a company called Anthropic, which was founded in 2021 by a group of researchers who previously worked at OpenAI. Anthropic was built with a specific focus on AI safety and what they call responsible AI development. Claude launched publicly in 2023 and has been updated regularly since then, with each version noticeably improving on the last. It has grown more quietly than ChatGPT, but it has built a loyal and vocal user base, particularly among people who use AI for writing, research, and complex thinking tasks. The origin story of each company is actually relevant to how the tools feel to use. OpenAI was built to push the boundaries of what AI can do as fast as possible. Anthropic was built with a more measured approach, prioritizing safety and the quality of the AI's reasoning alongside its capabilities. You can feel that difference when you use both tools, not in a dramatic way, but in the texture of how they respond, how they handle nuance, and how they approach questions that do not have a simple answer. We will get into the specifics of that shortly. Both tools are available on desktop and mobile, and both have free and paid versions that unlock additional features and higher usage limits. For the purposes of this video, we are focusing on what both tools can do at the free tier, since that is where most beginners start. Let's start with ChatGPT and where it genuinely stands out. The first area where ChatGPT has a clear advantage is the ecosystem around it. Because ChatGPT has been around longer and has a significantly larger user base, there is an enormous amount of support content, tutorials, prompt guides, and community knowledge built around it. If you get stuck or want to learn how to do something specific, the chances of finding a clear answer online are much higher for ChatGPT than for any other AI tool right now. For a complete beginner, that ecosystem advantage is genuinely valuable. The second strength is image generation. The paid version of ChatGPT includes access to image generation through a tool called DALL-E, which allows you to create images from text descriptions directly inside the same interface you use for everything else. If visual content creation is part of what you want to use AI for, having that capability built into one tool without needing to switch platforms is a real convenience advantage. Third, ChatGPT has web browsing capability built in, which means it can search for and pull in current information when you ask it questions about recent events or time-sensitive topics. This is a significant practical advantage for anyone who needs up-to-date information rather than relying on the training data the model was built on. Fourth, the interface familiarity factor. For better or worse, ChatGPT set the standard for what people expect an AI chat tool to look and feel like. If you have any prior experience with AI tools at all, the ChatGPT interface will feel immediately familiar. That reduces the learning curve for beginners who are already slightly intimidated by the idea of using AI and just want something that feels straightforward from the first interaction. Fifth, the context that ChatGPT will have on you is likely to be more in depth, especially if you use it often. Because it has memory built in, it can often refer back to previous chats you have had, which can save you explaining yourself during every new session. Where ChatGPT is weaker is in what a lot of users describe as consistency of tone and depth in longer written outputs. For short tasks, it performs excellently, but for longer, more nuanced pieces of writing, some users find that the outputs can feel slightly generic or lack the kind of considered reasoning they are looking for. This is not a deal breaker for most use cases, but it is a consistent theme in the feedback from people who have tried both tools seriously. Now let's look at Claude with the same honesty, because it is worth understanding exactly what is driving that shift in preference among people who use AI tools regularly. The first area where Claude consistently impresses is the quality of its writing, not just the correctness of it, but the feel of it. Users who ask both tools to produce longer written content, whether that is articles, emails, scripts, reports, or explanations, frequently note that Claude's output reads more naturally. It tends to vary sentence structure more thoughtfully, it handles nuance more carefully, and it is less likely to produce the slightly flat, formulaic writing that AI tools can sometimes default to. For anyone using AI primarily for content creation, this difference is noticeable and meaningful. The second strength is how Claude handles long documents and complex information. Claude has what is called a large context window, which in plain language means it can hold and work with significantly more information in a single conversation than many other AI tools. You can paste in a very long document, a detailed brief, or a complex set of instructions, and Claude will hold all of it in mind as it responds. This makes it particularly useful for research, summarization, and any task that involves processing a large amount of information at once. Third, a lot of users comment on what they describe as Claude's reasoning quality. When you ask Claude a question that does not have a simple answer, when you ask it to weigh up options, think through a decision, or consider something from multiple angles, the responses tend to feel more considered and more intellectually honest than what they get from other tools. Claude is also notably more likely to acknowledge when it is uncertain about something rather than presenting a confident answer that turns out to be incorrect. For beginners who are still building their understanding of what AI tools can and cannot be trusted for, that honesty is actually a really important quality. Fourth, the tone. This is subjective, but it comes up consistently enough in user feedback to be worth mentioning. Many people who use both tools describe Claude as feeling more like a conversation with a thoughtful, patient person and less like querying a search engine. It asks clarifying questions when a prompt is ambiguous. It explains its thinking. It pushes back respectfully when it disagrees with a premise rather than just going along with it. For tasks that involve creative thinking, writing, or working through a problem, that conversational quality makes the experience noticeably more useful. Fifth, and this is something I have personally noticed, when you ask it to provide an email draft or script, before simply providing generic text, it will ask follow-up questions that really help to tailor the content to the specific use case, and this is a game changer. Where Claude is weaker is in the areas we already covered as ChatGPT strengths. The ecosystem around it is smaller, which means less community support and fewer tutorials for beginners. It does not have native image generation, and the web browsing capability on the free tier is more limited than ChatGPT's. If your primary use case involves creating images or pulling in very recent information, ChatGPT currently has the edge. All right, we have covered where each tool stands out and where each one falls short. Now let's make this practical, because the question most beginners actually need answered is not which tool is better in the abstract. It is which tool makes more sense for what I specifically want to do. Here's a straightforward framework for thinking about it. Choose ChatGPT as your starting point if you are completely new to AI and you want the most supported, well-documented experience available. If you want image generation built into the same tool you use for everything else. If you regularly need current information and web search capability. If the sheer volume of tutorials and community guides around a tool matters to you as a beginner. or if you have already started with ChatGPT, are getting value from it, and do not feel a strong reason to switch. Choose Claude as your starting point if writing is central to how you want to use AI, whether that is for content creation, professional communications, or any other written output. If you regularly work with long documents or complex information that you need to process or summarize, if you want an AI tool that reasons carefully and tells you honestly when it is not sure about something rather than confidently giving you an answer that might be wrong. Or if you have tried ChatGPT and felt like the writing outputs were not quite at the level you needed them to be, here is the honest answer that a lot of comparison videos never give you. For most beginners, the best approach is not to pick one and ignore the other. Both tools are free to start. Both take about 2 minutes to sign up for, and they are genuinely good at different things in a way that makes using both more useful than committing exclusively to either. A practical starting point that a lot of regular AI users land on is this. Use ChatGPT when you need images, current information, or you want the backing of a large community resource when you get stuck. Use Claude when you are doing anything that involves sustained writing, working through a complex problem, or processing a large amount of information at once. Over time, as you use both, you will develop your own sense of which one you reach for first in different situations. That instinct is worth building because the AI tools landscape is moving fast, and the ability to evaluate and switch between tools fluidly is going to be a genuinely valuable skill going forward. Let's bring it together quickly. ChatGPT, larger ecosystem, image generation, web browsing, familiar interface, best for beginners who want maximum support and an all-in-one tool. Claude, stronger writing quality, better with long documents, more thoughtful reasoning, more honest about uncertainty, best for writing heavy tasks and nuanced problem solving. Both, free to start, both improving rapidly, and for most people using both is more useful than choosing just one. And if this video has got you thinking about doing more than just using these tools for everyday tasks, if you want to actually build something with AI, a content channel, a faceless brand, a real income stream that does not require you to be on camera, then the Sarmatic Faceless Blueprint is built exactly for that. It is a step-by-step course for beginners that walks you through the complete process of building a faceless AI brand from scratch, from choosing your niche all the way through to monetizing your audience. No camera, no experience needed, just a clear system that works. The link is in the description below. If this video was useful, please hit the like button. It takes 2 seconds and it genuinely helps more people find this content. Drop a comment below and tell me which tool you are currently using, or if you have tried both, which one you find yourself going back to more often. I read every comment and I am genuinely curious where people land on this one. And if you are not subscribed yet, now is the time. We publish practical, beginner-friendly AI content every single week on this channel. No jargon, no hype, just honest guidance on how to make these tools work for your actual life. I will see you in the next one.